I'm doing these tests in line of sight without the headset on, but I am recording the footage from the onboard FPV camera. Okay, I've slipped it into PA mode. It's keeping the wings level, but I'm not real sure about the stability of the course. It seems to be performing a fairly wide loop. There's no lock symbol on the heading or on the altitude, so I'm just letting it go its own way at the moment. It's starting to lose some altitude and it's coming back across the road behind some trees, so I'm feeding a little bit of altitude in. The altitude lock symbol came on briefly, but I'm currently giving it a little bit of altitude, trying to get it up to around 70 metres, 80 metres. Okay, I've released the elevator now, so it's flying on its own. It's obviously done a 360-degree circuit since I've put it into PA mode, so I can't see that it's the wind just blowing it off course. It's in some sort of circuit. It seems to be heading more on a straight line, this circuit, though. It also seems to be gaining a bit of altitude. It's still hands off, I'm just letting it do its own thing. Now it's coming up to the safe travel limit of 500 metres, so it goes into return to home mode and it starts dropping like a stone in altitude. I'm forced to pull up on the elevator, which seems to put it back into PA mode. At this point I pretty well give up on testing PA and decide to have a go at the return to home. Okay, I'm testing the return to home mode. I've just switched through Loiter to return to home. So the altitude set at 100 metres, the radius of the circle is set at 50 metres. So it's turning for home. So this is as close as it gets to home. It's set for a 50 metre circle, but it's got to about 60. Now it's continuing on. It's got the wind behind it. It should be turning to the left, which it starts to do now. The turn's very shallow. It doesn't start to get serious till around about now, which is 350 metres out from home. So I'm not sure that this home radius is really working at all. I've noticed that it's briefly slipped into PA mode a couple of times. That seems to coincide with a loss of signal from the GPS. I'm not sure why that's happening, whether it's the software or the hardware. I'll have to check that. So it's continuing to do a circle, but it seems to, the closest it gets to home is about 120 metres and it starts going further away again. Again, as I said, we've got a 50 metre circle, but it's just going well beyond that. So the circuit is continuing. On this circuit, the closest it seems to get to home is about 90 metres before it decides it's going to continue going around. So at this point I pretty well give up on return to home mode and move on to test the Loiter mode. Okay, I'm switching it into Loiter mode. Wind's slightly behind me at the moment, so it seems to be holding the altitude. Again, the return to home radius is set for 50 metres and we're not seeing any evidence of any turns happening yet. Not touching the controls, it's just doing its own thing. Still heading out, actually seems to be doing a better job of heading hold than the PA mode. We're coming up on the 500 metre safe distance, so we'll see what happens there. It's gone into return to home mode. Banking, and it seems to be losing altitude down at 100 metres. And maintaining that. So much for Loiter mode. So, decided to test the autopilot mode next. Okay, I'm slipping it into autopilot mode. I've got 3 waypoints set up around the field. They're all at 100 metres of altitude, and I've initiated it when I'm flying directly away from the first waypoint. So it's turning, but it's still flying away from it. It seems to be gaining altitude, but still taking a long time to turn back to the direction. So it seems to be online now. It's getting closer. So at this point, at about 300 metres out from A, it switches to point B. I've got the maximum distance to change set at 30 metres, so why it's chosen 300 to change waypoints is a bit beyond me, but we seem to be on line for point B, but we're all over the shop. There is a bit of wind coming from the left, but not enough to make it do that sort of dramatic change. So around about 100 metres out from point B, it switches to the third point. Again, why it's not getting within 30 metres, I don't know. It seemed to be doing that on the previous version without any problem at all. And again, about 100 metres out from point C, it switches to point A and continues on around the circuit, pretty much the same. So it seems to be working, but not within the radius that it's programmed for. The altitude seems to be okay, but the radius is Pretty ordinary. So I bring it in for a landing and very disappointed. So these are the settings that I used for this flight. This is the first page, and apart from the battery adjustment, everything's pretty much the default. The most significant parameters here are the pitch and roll angles, which I've reduced slightly, and I've set it on PA heading hold. I've set the safe range to 500 metres, the aileron rudder to off and GPS data to on. These are the settings for the first 3 waypoints, which are all activated. The waypoint radius wasn't present in my previous version, and I really don't know what it does. These waypoints haven't been activated. Neither of these. As you can see from this screen, the home altitude is 100 metres, the radius is 50 metres. I'm not really sure what the parameters in the box do, so this is something I can experiment with in the future, I guess. I'm still not sure if this is a problem that it's just me that's experiencing or not, but I'll give it one more go, and if not, I guess I'll just go back to the version 1.06, which I was quite happy with, but it doesn't have Loiter.